All right, welcome everybody. It's Wednesday, time for My Fence Life, my favorite part of the week. Special guest today, though, Isaac. I bet you half the people watching this already know who you are, but just in case, let's let them know.
Okay, well, I'm the in charge over here at your bid helper, so I just help people with commercial and industrial bids, and do the takeoffs and review the plans and stuff. So that's what we do here.
Yeah. So
We're always
real
working
quick,
on bids.
your bid helper, is that at the service where you actually you basically go in and read some of the plans and put together material lists and things for people?
Yes, yeah. So most of the time, most of the customers don't have us actually doing the pricing.
Uh-huh.
Typically, we're downloading the plans and doing the takeoff and the material list and those kind of things. So yeah,
Yeah.
and then we
So
can't do
how'd
the
you get into
pricing as
that?
well.
I was talking to somebody. God, I was on the phone talking to somebody, and I wish I could recall a couple weeks ago, and they knew who you were. That was a contractor down in California, but you're not from California, right?
No, I am from California.
Oh,
Yeah.
you are. Okay. I
Yeah.
thought for some reason I was thinking you were back east when we were talking one time.
So right now I'm in Nashville,
Oh, okay. That's
but I
okay.
was in California most of my life. So
Oh, so that makes sense. It was a contractor down in California, and they knew who you were. So I was like,
okay.
man, he's already made his way over to the West Coast.
No, I have a few customers over there as well. So
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So today we're gonna be talking about and you probably come across this sometimes in some of the contracts, or you maybe come in the verbiage, but are you escalation clauses? And I think right now with the tariffs that are, I mean, one day they're on, one day they're off. Suppliers, some suppliers are already increasing on the tariffs that are coming in pretty soon, and some of the American made products are holding tight. But what does that do on the bids, man? I mean, you're talking to people about bids all day long. Are people nervous?
uh, I haven't had a lot of customers that express being nervous to me, but I've heard some other people in the fence industry that are pretty nervous and wanting to buy job materials for jobs that they haven't even sold yet. It's like, whoa, that's pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
If you want to go out and buy materials for $1 million job that you haven't even sold yet. But
Yeah, and people are gonna start stockpiling, and an escalation clause basically is something that helps protect your bid, or once you because you bid. I mean, a lot of stuff that we're bidding, we may not get a go ahead on it for 6 months, and then even after we start, with everything increasing or fluctuating sometimes with uncertainty, you might get in, and not all of us buy all of our materials. It may be a big enough project where you're not buying all your materials before you start. You may be buying 25% of the materials, and you're buying them as you go in a larger project, as the materials are being delivered to you. And sometimes the manufacturers and things like that or the suppliers will adjust their pricing based off of what the current market value is. So
yeah.
to protect us from stuff like that, we got things like escalation clauses in there. And it's easy for us just to say, hey, you should add an escalation clause, right? What the hell does that mean? What's the verbiage? You're just going to write in there that I'm going to, a lot of people think, well, I'm just going to write in there that if there's a price increase, I'm going to charge you more. And that doesn't necessarily hold up. There's a lot of steps that go in place to make an escalation clause actually work, and not end up in a big debate or a dispute with the customer. Have you came across any of the escalation clauses?
I mean, I've used them. I mean, in the contracts and stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, we've been through this before. With material price increases and that type of thing. So
Yeah. Well, last year, I mean, the last ones that we were really, when everybody was kind of really thinking about the increases was probably, what was it, 2021 after the COVID stuff, when the increases came up. And do you remember there being just a lot of people saying, I can't get materials? I mean, and I was fortunate enough, I had some really good suppliers that I was really loyal to that kind of really took care of me through that. So I didn't struggle as much, but I had a lot of people saying, hey, the gates were just shut at some of the suppliers. You couldn't go in, you couldn't get materials. They weren't setting up new accounts. I have some ideas. I mean, not some ideas. What I think is different about this time opposed to last time is I think that last time it wasn't necessarily a shortage on materials. It was just all sitting out on ships and stuff out in the they couldn't get them into docks. They couldn't get them unloaded.
yeah.
Right. So it wasn't that there was a shortage in materials. There was a shortage in materials with the suppliers, but that was only because they couldn't get access to them because it was all sitting out on the ships and there was no one to unload them. Right.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So as soon as that kind of opened up, the materials opened back up. Right. So I'm wondering in the next 6 months if we're not being a whole different type of material shortage, because there's actually going to be a full blown material shortage. If this stuff plays out like it is, and except this time we won't have container load after container load sitting out on the ships, already floating around. So this might be a bigger issue than we had last time. So because of that, the pricing is going to be adjusted. So I wanted to kind of go through some of the steps to make an escalation clause to hopefully protect some of the people out there, the smaller companies that aren't aware of it. So let's do step one. Let's kind of go through the step one on these things. I mean, what it takes to get in there. So base price, obviously, everything we do is going to have a base price added to the escalation clause. So this is where we're going to start with. That's going to be just your normal price that you got into it. And we're going to go through a couple of these things, but we're still going to do the what happened to Sean, the questions with Sean and Brian. So I don't want anybody that comes on this and says, what would Brian and Sean say? Where is that? It's coming. But we're going to wrap through a couple of these things so that everybody doesn't get bogged down on this. So we're talking the base price. It's the initial price, which would be your quote, what you're going to be going. You start with that. What do you think are some of the trigger events on it? I mean, what would you think? What would be a normal trigger event in an escalation clause? Materials.
I mean, I don't really foresee labor being an issue, but the materials definitely is one of them.
Yeah. So materials is what we're going to basically be focused on, because that's kind of what everybody's worrying about right now. And it's hard for us to come back and say, hey, our labor costs went up. We were paying our guys more money, things like that. But if you were working for, say it's a project where the labor costs are based off of prevailing wage or union wages or something like that, and something gets negotiated and all of a sudden prevailing wage goes up, you could probably implement something like this. But then you have to have specified factors in it, which is, if it increases by over a certain amount or a percentage or a solid amount, then that would trigger, so if you had material costs, in your job figured at a certain amount, and materials based off of your supplier went up a X amount of money, that would be a trigger event, because we're not just worried about that. So that's kind of what we're talking about. So step one, you got to have part of your escalation clause a base price. Step two, you got to have a trigger event. What's going to trigger this escalation clause to actually be activated to where, the terms and everything's going to kick in. So then you have to have step three is going to be an escalation formula. The price will be adjusted, but how's it going to be adjusted? It's going to be adjusted again by a specified amount or, things like that, conditions and things like that. So we go in there, and I think we'll get into more detail, on that probably, on another podcast, we'll get into that. But what do you think, man? What are your thoughts on escalation clause? Do you think they should do it, or?
I mean, I think you have to have some verbiage in your contract, specifying, especially if it's like a special item, a specialty material or something like that. It could definitely be increased in price. So, I mean, I think not even just because of the times that we're in now, but just in general, you should have something in your contract regarding this, like, hey, if our supplier changes, the only thing you might bid a job with 25 or 30% markup, and they may not be willing to pay you that 30% markup on this additional fees. You're going to probably have like a 10% fixed or something on top of the, and maybe they won't want to pay you any extra markup. Maybe they just want to cover the costs. So, that's all stuff that is going to be part of the conversation, right, for your contract moving forward and stuff. But you're not really trying to get a bunch of extra profit anyways. You're trying to just make sure that your bases are covered. You're being reasonable and being honest, right?
Yep. Yeah. And I think that, I'm a firm believer that if a material increases 5% or whatever, if the difference between you making money or losing money on a job is 5%, you probably bid it too low in the first place. But we're not talking about 5%. We're talking about some of these, with some of these increases might be 25, 50, 60. I've seen it go as crazy as 70, 80% increases. So it's definitely, now is the time to start thinking about protecting yourself so that you can still make money, because this is how we all feed our families. And, I think a lot of times the smaller fence companies, we neglect this part of it, and we go and we just blindly sign contracts, right, with general contractors. And we think, well, if we don't sign them, you can't get the work. And I think I made some posts about that, saying I'm like, hey, do you just redline or do you redline, do you not redline, or do you just sign the contracts? A lot of people are like, well, you have to sign it. If you don't sign it, you just won't get the work, and you can't redline everything. What are your thoughts on redlining?
Oh yeah, we redline stuff, a lot of stuff. Yeah, are you kidding me? Oh yeah. They want, a lot of times they want personal guarantees and all kinds of stuff. No, that was part of my job for a long time at A1 Fence, was like reading contracts and sending stuff to the GCA saying these pages and this is the stuff that we can't agree to. And because they're going to pretty much make you agree to everything that they want you to agree to. And it's all a negotiation until you sign the contract. So, and you have to be, if it's important enough, you walk away, right? If they're trying to ask you for something that you're not willing to do, but for the most part, you're gonna just cross out what's unreasonable and what you see as
Yeah.
unreasonable.
Yeah, and anything you don't understand. You know, again, we're not attorneys or, you know, giving legal advice here. And they had an attorney write that contract for them. And most of the time, the person that sent it to you doesn't understand what it all means either, right? So if they don't understand it, then how are you supposed to understand it? So if you haven't had an attorney review it and you haven't had a attorney review it and send it back, then you basically are just blindly signing something, you know. But hey, let's not forget.
What would Brian and Sean say?
Sean's not here on this one, but we're going to answer these things together. So
All
right. So we'll start. Nick, this again, these are all going to come from Fence Industry Only group on Facebook. Probably one of the most active groups for the fence industry on there. It says Nick on here is an all-star contributor. So Nick, thank you for that. We appreciate that. Where do you all, are you sure Susan didn't write this? What is this y'all stuff, right? You know, I'm afraid to keep reading it now. I feel like it's going to be a joke. Where do y'all like to get your company shirts with logos made? I can't afford bulk orders at the moment, so looking for a good price. And where do you order them? Basically, doesn't want to spend too much. Any recommendations regarding brands, color, etc.? Have you ordered shirts?
No, I don't have shirts. No, the only thing I can't say, because I've had hats made in the past, and your local, if you find a local shop that's like right down the street from your, I've had good luck with local people who made hats and shirts for me in the past. So that's the only thing I can recommend. But I'm sure you can find 100 people to do it. Yeah.
We've been getting shirts made for a long time. I think we got a local place we get them from. And I was reaching out to Alex over at Brand Builders too. So I think that might be a good place to start. I know a lot of people that got their shirts and stuff and design stuff from them. So Brand Builders, Alex Harris, and I think Cannon Johnson and stuff as well. So yeah, I would definitely check that out. Yeah. So when's the last time you got some shirts, man? I know it's changed a little bit lately. I mean, it's everything went up a little bit, but not too bad, right?
Yeah. No, I didn't. I can't remember the last time I had a shirt made. The last time I had hats was the things that I had made. So
yeah. Hats. Yeah, I think for hats, True Line Express probably on the hats is we kind of run with on something like that. So I guess there's people in our auction. You know what? I think this is great. We'll have to go back and get some of the answers on this post on Fence Industry Only. Let's see what else we got, Susan. Whip it up. That was an easy one. David Cooper. I'm looking for recommendations for digital system to keep track of pending jobs, track progress, save contracts, sketches, etc. I'm running 4 crews and I'm becoming challenged to keep up with this. So you probably know quite a bit about different softwares and different stuff to track stuff with.
I can't say that I do, honestly. I know there's a lot of them out there, but I don't have experience with them. I mean, a lot of the companies that I worked with use like Excel spreadsheets, which is really outdated. But
yeah, no, a lot of people. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Excel's a great tool for new companies. I mean, I still do a lot of my quotes on Excel and stuff as well. So I'm glad that you said Excel, because automatically we start thinking paid software programs and things like that. And we are paying for Excel now; it's a monthly fee. But for us, so we use Excel for a lot of stuff. So there's no shame if anybody's tracking their stuff on Excel. Contracts and things like that, and it's a great tool for saving stuff, and it syncs well with other stuff. But we use Jobber a lot.
Jobber, okay.
On ours, we track a lot of jobs with Jobber. We tried some different platforms, but I know there's a ton of them. Go to the Fence Show, you'll probably see a bunch of definitely all the ones that are really working to support the industry are at the Fence Show in Las Vegas. There's no doubt. So I would check that out, and maybe go on to fenceshow.com and take a look at the list of exhibitors that are exhibiting at our show, because we've had a lot of contacts with most of them. And I'm telling you, those are definitely the people that are supporting the industry, and it'll probably be a good spot to my first place I would check it out. But for us, we use Jobber and some other ones we've been trying out. Let's see what else we got. Justin Craig Woods. I know this has been asked before. Oh gosh, let's see what this is going to be, huh? What is everyone using for invoice? This is kind of similar, right? Using for invoice estimate that accepts payments. Okay, that's different. QuickBooks made a small fortune in fees off me last year. Well, I wouldn't think that it's going to be any cheaper to go anywhere else. I mean, the credit card processing fees are probably so similar Do you use any software that does any kind of payment collecting?
No, I don't. I have
Yeah.
so people pay me through QuickBooks, but they pay me through their QuickBooks. So it's not like
Yeah.
I send them. My invoices don't come through QuickBooks.
Well, gosh, we probably send invoices and estimates in like 3 or 4 different ways. I mean, we use QuickBooks, we use Jobber, we send them through Square. We've actually sometimes we'll do it through one of our platforms on GoDaddy. I mean, we probably send on an average week. We probably send it through at least 4 or 5 different platforms, and the fees are the fees, man. I mean, you're going to pay anywhere from 2.5% to 4%, depending on what kind of credit card it is, and things like that. Whether it's an Amex or whether it's a rewards card or whether you're punching the card in manually. I can tell you this: if you can try to get someone to come in, if it's a large amount, we'll probably have them come into the office if it's a big material sale and swipe the credit card in person. 1, for security reasons, but 2, because the fees are a lot less. If probably at least 1% less if you have them swipe the card in person opposed to punching the numbers in manually. So that's all I can say. But they made
I have a lot of customers that pay me through ACH, direct into my checking account. But I take Venmo, Apple Pay, PayPal, like you name it, I take it. Because my service is like really reasonable, so it's usually like a few $100. It's not like lots of money, so people pay me whatever's convenient for them. Venmo, Cash App, like I take it all.
Yeah.
Checks. I wait 3 and 4 and 5 weeks for checks in the mail.
Yeah. And Stripe. Yeah. Sasha just mentioned Stripe. I use Stripe's one we use as well. But So good questions though, Susan. Again, thanks for bringing those up. So we went through step 1, 2, and 3. Step 1, base price, right? Step 2, we need a trigger event. Step 3, what's the formula that's going to be used if an event does get triggered? Step 4, we're talking a maximum cap. Nobody's going to want, you have to make this fair. Nobody's going to want to see these unlimited increases based off of whatever you can come up with, right? So you have to have a maximum cap to put on this thing. And that's typically what you'd put in it. And the more information you can put in your escalation clause that outlines and makes things clearer and makes it more of a fair exchange, the more likely this is going to hold up, right? Opposed to just saying, again, I think a lot of us as when we get started, we just start throwing in there, hey, price is going to increase if my price increases. Well, that wasn't enough information for you to actually be able to fight, and the odds are the customer's not going to go ahead and sign it, with that kind of verbiage in, it's too vague. So maximum cap. Now we've got time period. The price adjusts under the clause to be made. And these increases may, people may just not want this thing increased, daily or weekly every single time you're doing it, so a little tiny increase. So they may say this can only increase, once a year, or if it's a big project, or maybe once a month, or things like this when you're doing your invoicing. So you have to have a time period, basically upon the occurrence of the trigger of the event. So that's something that's important to get in there. So we've got supporting documents, like I was just saying earlier. So this is where you got to have something in there that says what kind of supporting documents are you going to have when you're doing this.
Well, one of the things that one of the ways they can get around avoid the price increase is like if the customer's willing to pay for the materials up front, right? Because then it's like you can just buy the materials, and if you have the space, right, to store it, then you can, So in the past, I've we've billed customers and we purchased. Well, we had to take pictures of the materials in our yard or whatnot, and then they paid us, right? And then you can avoid the escalation altogether if you have that. But if it's a job with several years, that you're performing for several years, then it's going to be a lot more complicated than storing material. Because if it sits in your yard for a few more years, they might not want the material. They might not like it. You know how the dust kicks up and the finish can fade on that stuff. So
even months though, because sometimes you may, like I said, you may have put your bid in, you may get the go ahead on the contract. And like in Nevada, we're 3 to 6 months to pull a permit. So it may have nothing to do with you working on the project. You may have got the go ahead, you even got a deposit, but the project's not starting for 6 months or 8 months, but because you're waiting on permits or whatever the factor would be. So right now, in 6 months, the price might be 50% higher. Who knows, right? So you'd have this in there to cover yourself before even the job started. So it is kind of nice. And if you, and also what you said, you may have it on the ground, but if you're counting on your inventory that you have in stock to be that material you're going to be including, that says is protected, well, you have to replace that material. So, at a higher cost, exactly. Maybe. So you got to factor all that in there. So we're at step 6. So step 1, base price. Step 2, we need a trigger event, and we're going to get all this. Probably in the comments here. Step 3, escalation formula, maximum cap, time period. We're at supporting documents. Now you got to have something in there that notifies. Basically is the notice. Okay. Provided you got to provide something to the buyer, the sellers, everybody's got to be, some sort of notice, a period of time, less than an X period of days prior to the effective date of the price adjustment. So you got to have some sort of base pricing and stuff in there. And you got to, put some documentation in there to note the notices to be provided to the buyer. So that, again, that's just, they don't want to be hit, every week with something new, and they don't want to be kept up. You know how the tariffs are on one day, off the other day, on the one day. We can't, they're not going to want to get a text message every morning saying the price went up and say, oh, never mind. Yeah. Oh, the price went up. Oh, never mind. You're never going to do work for that guy again. Right. So, but what happens if you don't agree, right? What if there's a price increase? They don't agree with your supporting documents. They think it's BS. They think that you also own the material company. So therefore there's conflict, since you're just creating the invoices yourself to justify the, and that would happen, right? Sometimes you're creating the invoices yourself to justify the increase in pricing, things like that. You got to have what's going to happen if there is a dispute. That's step 8. That has to be on there. Are you going to go to arbitration, mediation, whatever it's going to be. And you typically want, this is again where you want to bring your attorney, and we're not attorneys, but you'd want that, hopefully to be, if it's going to be arbitration in the state that you live in, because, you got to be careful on that. Even in the contracts you've seen, you might be signing something. And if you look at the dispute resolution, which is in a lot of the contracts, the arbitration's in New York, right? So it's in New York, and then you got to fly to New York to do this, right? Well, and your project happens to be in Nevada or California, so now the costs go up for you to try to do the travel. So I typically change that and say it has to be in my state, wherever the job's being done. So Sasha, Sasha says, what do you do if your distributor hold quotes for 3 to 7 days? Yeah. Oh, okay. What you do? Yeah, you have to protect yourself. Yeah. So he's right.
Well, I've had people say their quotes were good for 2 days before. So, but yeah, you're either going to bid the job or you're not. There's really not, a lot you can do. I've bid jobs and then was awarded them a year later, actually. So it's like, but in an opportunity like that, they understand that, it's been 12 months, right? So, a lot can change in a few months. So.
Yeah. Oh, quick, man. Quick. You got any cool stuff going on right now? What are you, how many companies how many bids are you working on every week right now? Like
8 to 10 bids. Yeah. Something like that.
Man, you must have one hell of an attention span. I struggle with it. So are you're doing it all off the computer then? No actual hard plans, right?
Yeah. It's all off the computer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough, man. I'm still old school, man. I sit there for a while. After about an hour or two, I get so frustrated. I send it over to the blueprint place here and I print it out. And and I want to sit there. I want to get my pen out. I want to draw the lines and
Well, I highlight everything and measure everything, and so it's all dialed in. But I also have somebody helping me with it. So if things get busy, I can send something her way. So
yeah. So when are we going to get you back up to Vegas? I know we talked not too long ago.
Oh, I don't know. I don't have any plans right now to go back over there. October, for sure. October.
So you be up for the fence show. All right. Oh, yeah. We'll try to get you out there sooner because so everybody knows, Las Vegas Fence is planning on working with Isaac too. So we're excited about this. It's gonna be a good year. So don't let all the talk about tariffs and material pricing increase, all that stuff scare you. Get out there and bid the stuff, but definitely throw some stuff in to protect yourself. That's all, in that way, nothing can change. It's going to be still a great year, and I think the economy is going to boom. So I definitely don't want to.
The most important thing, I don't mean to interrupt you. The most important thing is just be honest and transparent. You got to just be upfront about everything. If you're respectful and you're honest, there's no reason to lie or to be shady about anything. If you're honest and transparent and you bring things up and the customer's going to respect you. I mean, the way that you handle the situation is going to do a lot for your company moving forward. So just be honest, be transparent. Yeah. Say, hey, look, this is what's going on. I mean, even I don't watch the news, but even if you don't watch the news, like people know what's going on. So yeah, I mean, it's just important that you are transparent with your contract and your customers, and you walk them through it. It's just like the sales process. You walk them through it. You show them like, hey, they might say, hey, I want this fence, and you say, oh, that fence wouldn't work here. You need this fence, right? So you guide them, you show them, right? Because you're the professional. And it's the same thing with the tariff and the increase, and like however your contract is written, you're going to explain it to them, like, this is what could happen potentially. So hopefully, you can do the job for the price that you quoted it. But if not, at least they're going to know, well, this is the alternate, right? If that doesn't work out, if we can't hold the price.
Yep. So, yeah. So it looks like we got some stuff going on though. I'm just taking a look here. We have some different events happening. I think the very next one, speaking of Vegas, is Fence University's got the telephone entry quick start class. So fenceuniversity.com to register for that. And that's coming up March 24th. If anybody wanted to learn about telephone entry systems, we've got all kinds of stuff on hand. I mean, so manufacturers have been sending us all kinds of really cool stuff. Door King, Security Brands, Cellgate. I know I'm probably going to forget some. So I feel, you're always nervous every time you start listing stuff because you're like, there's always somebody you forgot. Yeah. And then you're like, man, I wish I wouldn't have said anything at all, right? And it's always, and who's always watching and listening? The person you forgot, right? It's like clockwork, right? Yeah. Everybody you mentioned wasn't even watching your show except for the one person that's sitting at home going, "Are you kidding me? Why he didn't mention me? I just talked to him at lunch." So lots of really cool stuff. We've got an entire access control room basically that's set up where we're going to be hooking those up to gate operators and things like that. So you're going to be able to learn hands-on. I know that's kind of the key. That's a word thrown around a lot now because we've really kind of kicked that off because we believe hands-on is what you need. So fenceuniversity.com, telephone entry, quick start class. Actually, I think, man, when is the Mr. Fence retreats? I think starting tomorrow, right? Mr. Fence Academy's retreat. So he's got that going on. So definitely go to mrfenceacademy.com and take a look at some of the stuff he's got going on for the events for that. And then we're going to be at the CMM's open house, which is really cool. Fence University, Mr. Fence Academy, Fence Work Association. We're going to be out there. Sean's putting on a really cool show. I think we got we're going to be going to a baseball game and all kinds of stuff. And I think there's only room for like the first 100 people are registering. He's going to be mad if I say it, but I don't even know. I'm probably inviting people that I'm not allowed to invite. So there's a ball game going on. Tell Sean that I invited you. I don't care. He'll get over it. So Sean with CMM, tell him that Brian invited me to this ball game. So make some room. Get one on the bus or something, But that's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see. I think after that, we're going to, you can go to Fence University, go Mr. Fence Academy, go pretty much anywhere, fencesocial.com. We start and list all these things on the events page at fencesocial.com as well. If you want to get up to date with some links. Isaac, man, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Everybody that's watching, hey, thanks. I appreciate it. If you watch this live, thanks for taking the time out of your evening. I know everybody's tired. It's getting late for some of you. If you're watching this in the future, hey, thanks for tuning in. I know all this is being streamed to some other places like Apple Podcasts, and I don't know how any of that stuff works, but Susan streams it over there. So whenever one of those things where you listen while you're driving or hanging out or something. Again, have a great evening, everybody. Isaac, thanks.
Thanks for having me.